Welcome back to another episode of Broken Mirror, guys. If you've been here, then you know that in the last video, we started working on prepping the Audi A3. The bumper got all done. I still have to do a couple more coats on this, sand it down, smooth it out, paint it out nice. But for the most part, the bumper's done. And then I think you just saw me starting the video removing all the little plastic protector that I had underneath the door handle, on the door sills. And then I also removed the badges on the back of the car. So this one I was actually the most worried about. I was kind of nervous I was going to destroy them all, but they came off really easy. I ended up just using some sewing thread that I had laying around the house. And then I believe you also saw me do another coat on the door. Probably going to do a couple more of these. I really do have to learn how this filler works, how long it needs to take to dry, how it actually builds. I thought you could paint like 4 coats, sand it down to 1, but I think I have to coat, sand, coat, sand, coat, sand, and go back and forth just like that. So I have to do that a couple more times, and probably on this bumper as well, until I finally get what I'm looking for. Right now what I'd like to do is actually take out the fender lights, which I just found out are pretty easy, and then I want to start taping off the car. The back window, that tail light, and then I'll probably remove these center panels because I need to paint them anyway. They're destroyed from that fake carbon fiber stuff that was on it. And I believe I'm going to try to yank this up. I don't want to damage it, but if I can get this up, it'll get a nice paint job on this line. Otherwise, it's going to make a really ugly line because it's super tight. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to get started prepping all that out, taping it all off, and getting this thing set up to have like its final sand and then paint. A lot of little things. Hopefully we can paint by tomorrow, and that'll give me a couple days to wet sand and buff if I have to do that. I'm gonna get started. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so it's the next day. I do think I figured out the primer. One, I kind of found out that in those 12-ounce cans, you really get about 4 ounces of paint. It's about 8 ounces of compressed air. So really 4 ounces of paint is like that much to paint a lot of spots. So it really doesn't do much. You have to actually get real primer, which I'll probably do on the next vehicle. But the good news is I think I lucked out, fingers crossed. Most of them seem to be filled pretty good. There's one little spot left on the bumper that I still have to sand and repaint. Also, I found that out if I sand, paint, sand, paint, sand, paint, it fills it much better than paint, sand. I have one little spot left on the bumper right there. I think you guys can see that little spot. So it's not much, and you guys are probably chuckling at my concern, but I'm just trying to learn how to do all this right. I want to do the best I can so that each time I come back, I realize where I messed up the last time. I still have to sand and correct this bumper. It already feels pretty smooth. All the rest did not feel that good already. So I'm feeling good about that. I think the top is done. I'm probably going to do one more little run, especially on the edges near the tape. I know this whole edge is kind of still smooth, but in better news, my dealer's license came in. So what does that mean? Basically, I can finally bring the Forte up for sale, hopefully this week. I'll probably have to rent a trailer. The place where I'll be selling it is about an hour north, but it's already Wednesday, so hopefully we can make that happen. I did call and already get a lot number and run number, and we'll kind of see how it all goes. But for right now, I want to try to get this car done as fast as possible, so hopefully the paint can cure while we're doing all of the auction stuff. Very excited. We'll see how it goes. I'm gonna get started. Okay, so it is the next day. I think I ended up cutting the clip probably a little short on you guys because I just kind of went into sanding everything and getting it prepped, and I thought you guys had watched enough sanding by now. So the car is ready sand-wise. So I ended up going back through and sanding everything down with at least 1,000 grit. Before I had it to about 600, and after watching a bunch of paint videos, kind of learned that between 800 to 1,000 is kind of the safe spot. 1,000 might be too much, but to be honest, I didn't have 800 on me. I still have to sand this down a little bit more today, and probably a little bit more over on that bumper. And I think this bumper is probably done. Pretty sure I fanned that one out pretty good. I can already tell there's going to be some marks that I'm done fighting, because one, I'm running out of primer. Two, I know this isn't going to be perfect. And three, I'm kind of spent. Honestly, I'm a little exhausted from this work. So anyway, right now what I want to do is to finish up that little sanding, make sure everything's been smooth and covered. Then I want to probably throw some tape in all the sills of the door jambs, and then I'm probably going to throw some plastic on it. So I think at this point, I'm probably just going to throw a montage up and kind of speed through it, because I'm sure you guys are probably tired of it by now. So yeah, I'm going to get started on that door. All right, it's the next day. Honestly, I probably could have painted last night, but it was about 5 o'clock when I finally could have, maybe 5:30. And I knew it was gonna be about 2 to 3 hours of painting, and I know my compressor was gonna kick on probably almost every time that I was spraying. So I just didn't wanna annoy my neighbors. It was a little late, just didn't wanna irritate them. So today, we're finally painting. I do think I'm going to throw up some kind of plastic sheeting a little bit on certain areas of the garage. I don't want to get covered with stuff. And then I'm probably going to wet the floor and mix some paint and get after it. I think you probably saw me kind of throwing all these little blue markers all over the place. Basically, these are all little spots where I've noticed a chip or paint, where if I clear coat over it, it's going to be like white or black or just not the paint color. I don't know if I'm going to do all these. I'm definitely going to do some of them, like the really bad ones. I don't know if you can see, but that one is just like a burn through with sandpaper. And then I think I have the same on this side. Yeah, like you can really see how bad that is. There are certain spots where I have to do it. Most of these little ones aren't too bad, but I still think I'm gonna do my best to try to just come through and kind of dot them really quick. Nothing crazy, just kind of match the color-ish. But for right now, I think I'm going to probably spray down some water and get started. paint job is done. I'm feeling pretty excited. Unfortunately, I ran out of clear coat on the passenger side. I emptied by that point and there was no more left. I learned the hard way. I should have had more activator for my clear coat and I ran out of it. It is what it is. It's okay. I'm still very happy with how everything came out. I think you guys just saw me kind of ripping off everything off the front bumper, but I'm very happy with how wet it looks. The blend into the fender is pretty good, but I think you guys can probably see like that is dry spray. Really bummed. Hopefully I can smooth this out because of the rest of the car. It's got a pretty nice gloss on it. I would have went and bought more activator, but it's too late. The shop closed already. And by the time they open up tomorrow, I would have to paint the whole car. The back came out really good. One giant run popped right in the middle of where the Audi badge should go. The back bumper came out awesome. I'm still waiting to see all this stuff in the daylight, but I'm so stoked with how well it came out. I do regret touching up all the little spots. I think it would have looked better just left alone. And then this door came out awesome. I can definitely see some waves in the panel and spots where I could have filled a little more, but I knew that going into this that I was going to have that, so I'm okay with it. I just wanted it to look better than all the little ripples that were very clear damage on the door. This has a little bit that I don't think most people even know unless I pointed it out. This mirror giant run dropped right on the top. The blend looks really good on the front fender from what I can see. In fact, yeah, I mean, really nice. I think I did get the hang of kind of fanning out the metallics at the end. You do one little kind of pretty coat. It's like a third or fourth coat of base just to kind of spread it out. But overall, the paint looks to be really good. There is a lot of trash. So regardless, the whole car is going to need a nice wet sand and buff. Anyhow, what I would like to do next is put the trim back on, put on the grill, mount up the front bumper permanently, and get this thing ripping out. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that this episode, so I'm probably gonna have to do it in the next. But until then, I did put this video here that I think you guys are gonna enjoy, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you next time. Later, guys.